Priscilla Cable. You may think from the name that Priscilla was an old lady, but the Priscilla I am to tell you about was a little girl. She was named for her grandmother, and every summer Priscilla spent her vacation with her grandmother Cable on a farm. This all happened many years ago, and on Grandmother Cable's day, all little girls were taught to knit, and she was very anxious that her only granddaughter should not grow up ignorant of this art. When Priscilla was 5 years old, her grandmother brought to her one day 2 bright knitting needles and a ball of yarn. "I am going to teach you to knit," she told Priscilla. "As soon as you can knit a strip, I will teach you to knit a stocking." Priscilla was very much pleased, and every day for a while she would sit beside her grandmother and slip the stitches from one needle to the other. Then one day Priscilla decided that she'd not like to knit, but her grandmother was not to be foiled by any such idea, and poor little Priscilla each day had to knit twice across the strip. At the end of the summer she had a piece of knitting that looked like open work, for in spite of all Grandmother Cable could do to save the dropped stitches, the strip was not a thing of beauty. Each summer it was brought out again, and each winter it was forgotten. When Priscilla was 10 years old, her father and mother went abroad, and she went earlier than usual to the farm. "You must begin a stocking," Grandmother Cable told Priscilla. "You will have plenty of time to finish a pair this summer. When I was your age, I had to knit my stockings, and my brothers also." "But I do not wear that kind," pleaded Priscilla. "Mother doesn't know how to knit, and no one does it now." "I want you to knit a pair of stockings for our church fair this fall," said Grandmother, and in spite of all Priscilla's protests, the stockings were begun. At times Priscilla had very wicked thoughts about that knitting work, and the yarn would almost snap from the pulling she gave it in her angry moments. One day a little girl named Mercy Ellen, who lived on the next farm, came to spend the day with Priscilla. Her grandmother had taught her to knit, and Mercy Ellen could knit a very good-looking stocking. When she saw Priscilla laboring in such an awkward manner with the 4 needles and the ball of yarn, she laughed. "Can you knit?" asked Priscilla. "Of course I can," said Mercy Ellen. "Let me take that work a minute." She made the needles fly almost as fast as Grandmother Cable, and as Priscilla watched her, she was struck with an idea. Mercy Ellen did not have pretty hair ribbons, and Priscilla had a large variety, and Mercy Ellen had admired them many times and wished she had some like them. Priscilla went to the door of the sitting room to make sure her grandmother was not within hearing distance. "Mercy Ellen," she asked, "do you want a red ribbon for your hair?" Of course she did. "Knit around that stocking leg 5 times, said Priscilla, "and I will give you one." It was done so quickly that Priscilla wished she had made it 10. Mercy Ellen and Priscilla became great friends. They spent many afternoons in the woods, and Priscilla went often to visit Mercy Ellen. "I am really glad Priscilla likes Mercy Ellen so well," her grandmother said one day. "And she takes more interest in her knitting, too. She has one stocking almost finished. Of course, I'll have to slip and bind it, but she will have a pair done for the fair, and I can say my granddaughter knitted them." And so one stocking was finished, and another begun. "Where are all your ribbons?" Grandmother Cable asked Priscilla one day. "You had a lot when you came." "Yes, I know I did," answered Priscilla without looking up from the book she was reading. "I lose them in the woods, but I will get some more. I am going to the village tomorrow with Mercy Ellen and her father." One afternoon, when the second stocking was well on its way, Mercy Ellen's mother came to see Grandmother Cable. She took a bundle from under her arm and opened it, displaying a large assortment of ribbons. "Mercy Ellen says that Priscilla gave her these," she said. Grandmother Cable looked at them. "These are Priscilla's hair ribbons," she said. "At least, some of them are. But these are new." And she took from the bundle several lengths of ribbon that had never been worn. "Now, what I want to know," continued Mercy Ellen's mother, "is why Priscilla gave them to Mercy Ellen. She won't tell. All I can get out of her is, 'Priscilla gave them to me.' Then she closes her lips tight. Not another word will she say. Did Priscilla give them to her?" "I do not know," replied Grandmother Cable, as much puzzled as Mercy Ellen's mother. "I'll call Priscilla and ask her," she said. When Priscilla saw the ribbons, her face grew very red. "Did you give those ribbons to Mercy Ellen?" her grandmother asked. "She's a telltale, and she crossed her heart too," said Priscilla, beginning to cry. "Did you give them to her?" her grandmother asked again. "Yes, I did," sobbed Priscilla through her tears. "And she promised not to tell that she knit them. She is a telltale." "Mercy Ellen didn't say anything," said her mother. "Only that you gave her the ribbons. And that is what I want to know about. Why you gave them to her." Priscilla sobbed out the whole story, how Mercy Ellen had knitted each day for her, and she had repaid her with a hair ribbon. "I just couldn't knit them," she said. Grandmother Cable took her in her lap and quieted her sobs. "You take the ribbons right back to Mercy Ellen," she said. "She earned them, and Priscilla has more than she can use." When they were alone, Priscilla said, "Grandmother, I cannot knit, but I can crochet, and if you would like to have me, I will make you a set of twine mats for the fair." "I didn't know that you could crochet," said her grandmother. "Perhaps that is better for little girls than knitting these days." So Priscilla made the mats, and at the fair that fall, Grandmother Cable displayed with great pride a set of mats that my granddaughter Priscilla made. "You should see how fast she can crochet," she said. "And she is only 10 years old."